Welcome to the first of our Society of Neurosurgeons of South Africa podcasts. My name is Tony Figaji. I'm the current president. And today I want to talk to you about our upcoming annual meeting, which we will be hosting in Gqeberha in the Eastern Cape province in August this year. But before I get there, I wanted to recap very quickly our last meeting, which is at the World Congress of Neurosurgery in December, which we hosted in Cape Town. If you were there, you know that we had a very successful meeting socially, professionally, and academically. Now that we've reconciled our budget, I wanted to feed back to you that that meeting was also successful financially, which is incredibly uncommon in this economic climate for international meetings, and in particular for the WFNS over the last 10 to 15 years or so. And so to be in a position where we can financially support the WFNS in its future endeavors, in accordance with our promises, with such a substantial amount of money, is quite remarkable. And it's remarkable in that we hosted it here in Africa. And in fact, for the very first time in its long history, the WFNS was hosted here in sub-Saharan Africa. And I think we can be tremendously grateful for that and proud. And we are grateful to all the members of our society who came to the meeting, who attended, who participated in the meeting, and also our African delegates elsewhere across the continent who helped us in the meeting and supported the meeting. I believe it was a true showcase for African potential. I believe we laid a very clear marker for professionalism in neurosurgery in Africa. And if we keep this trajectory, we are laying a very, very good and solid foundation for the next generation of African neurosurgeons. So now to our annual meeting. We are hosting this in August in Gqeberha in the Eastern Cape province. And we are going there for two reasons. One, it's a spectacular place we don't get to go to very often. It has beautiful geography. Its people are some of the friendliest that you'll come across in South Africa. And the second reason is that the Eastern Cape region, like many regions in South Africa and across the continent, are areas where there are neurosurgical services that exist, but don't perhaps have the typical support that the neurosurgical centers in the major cities have. And I believe very strongly that we have a collective responsibility in the neurosurgery community and as a society for what happens in all centers across the country and to all patients who require neurosurgical services. So one of the focus areas of the meeting will be what responsibility we have collectively as a society to support those centers in the big three of neurosurgery: service delivery, training and education, and academia. The meeting will be hosted by Professor Anton van Aswegen, who is the head of the Department of Neurosurgery in Bloemfontein, and I'm sure he will deliver an excellent meeting. The program is supported by the scientific committee led by Professor Llewellyn Padiachi from Pretoria, who will be assisted by Professor Basil Enneker from Durban. I think we have very good geographic representation in this. And we also look forward to having another great association with our industry partners. It looks like the interest in supporting the meeting is high, and we will be having the very nice to have problem of how to accommodate the large interest and the various displays in limited space. I think that is a very good reflection of a society in excellent health. The team has already put together a fantastic international faculty. We will have Professor Mitch Berger, who most of you know is the head of the Department of Neurosurgery at the University of California in San Francisco. You know, Professor Berger has served in many distinguished positions nationally and internationally. You know him best perhaps as a pioneer of intraoperative brain mapping, how we protect functional areas of the brain in surgery, in particular to maximize resection of gliomas while reducing the risk of neurological deficits. His research interests also lie in identifying molecular markers related to the progression and prognosis of gliomas, in correlating tissue biomarkers with novel imaging characteristics, and in developing in vivo gene editing for brain tumor treatment using CRISPR. We also have Professor Michael Failings from the University of Toronto. I consider him a great friend, and most of you know him as a pioneer of spine surgery and research across the world. He is a professor of neurosurgery at the University of Toronto, and again has occupied many leadership positions both in clinical work and as well as in research. He's highly respected both as a neurosurgeon and researcher, and he's one of those remarkable individuals who combines an active clinical practice in complex spine surgery with a translationally oriented research program focused on discovering novel treatments for the injured brain and spinal cord. His team works on the application of stem cells, nanotechnology, and tissue engineering for CNS repair and regeneration. He is unquestionably one of the top leaders in the field of spine surgery and research across the world. We also have the honor of having Professor Gavin Britz, who is chair of the Department of Neurosurgery at Houston Methodist Hospital, and he also serves in many leadership roles, both in clinical and in research work. I'm sure you wouldn't mind me saying that none of this would have been possible without his graduate degree from Wits University. His clinical work focuses on the treatment of brain aneurysms and skull-based tumors. He has also been instrumental in developing brain mapping techniques to minimize the morbidity associated with tumor surgery. His basic science research focuses on understanding the cerebral microcirculation, particularly after aneurysmal subarachnoid hemorrhage. And more recently, he has been pioneering methods for regenerative and restorative neurosurgery. And in fact, he spoke at the recent WFNS meeting about the expanding efforts in this space, which includes vagal nerve stimulation for recovery of ICH, the role of neurosurgery in developing neuroprosthetics, and advancing non-invasive methods. Dr. James Balogun will also be joining us. He is a distinguished neurosurgeon from Ibadan in Nigeria. He has also had many different fellowships and visiting scholarships at international institutions. His clinical and research focus is on the epidemiology, science, and surgery of adult and pediatric brain tumors. He is the coordinator of the Brain Tumor Board at his hospital, and he's also well known as a real driving force from neurosurgery for SNOSA, the Sub-Saharan Neuro-Oncology Society. And I know personally how much work and effort that he has put into making that society a functional one. So we're looking very forward to having James Balogun visit us in Gqeberha. We're also delighted to announce that Dr. Dan Zahari, a local speaker, will be sharing the newest insights into neuropathology and discuss the role of the neuropathologist in the future of neurosurgery. Dr. Zahari is a well-known and respected figure in our community, and as you know, there have been major developments in neuropathology in recent years, and these all have great implications for us as neurosurgeons. To that faculty, of course, we will be adding many local speakers. We will be talking about neurosurgical ethics. We'll be talking about the management of your private practice. So come and get your CPD points, and in particular, those very, very hard to come by ethics points. We want to talk about minimizing medical legal risk, what we as a society can do in mediating legal disputes, neurosurgical coding and best practice management, and showcasing the very best in research and innovation for our trainees in neurosurgery. And it is about our trainees and to our trainees that I want to say a few final words. As neurosurgical consultants and senior faculty, we are deeply committed to your education and training and preparing you for your final exams and preparing you to be a safe and competent neurosurgeon, but also enabling you to go beyond where your predecessors have gone. I believe strongly that we function best not as individuals, but in community, whether you'll be working in an academic practice or you'll be working on your own in private practice. Our goal is to support you and enable you to support others. A key part of this, and something that I believe we should work hard to protect, is to engage with the activities of the society, to learn from each other and to network with each other. This is how we get to learn, how you support each other professionally and legally, and even how you support each other psychologically. Neurosurgery is hard. You can't go it alone. And our annual meeting is the glue that keeps us together. It is our community network, and it is our platform to launch our international connections. I hope that you see it that way, that you come to Gqeberha and participate in the meeting, and see that our society meeting is not just an optional extra, but an essential part of our lifelong learning and growth as neurosurgeons. So I look forward to seeing you there. If you want to reach out to me or to the society, our details are below. If you want to know more about how you can engage in the activities of the society, please come up to us at the meeting and ask us about the many opportunities that are available. And finally, if you have any thoughts, please post your comments. We look forward to hearing your thoughts. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. This is our way of being able to get more content to you. And I look forward to seeing you in Gqeberha in August.